Today on Election Brief, Electoral Commission pats itself on the back as second phase of the just ended first phase of the ongoing registration exercise ends.
We are keen to ensure that citizens are provided with the truth and facts as they unfold. As a commission, we are determined to open up our processes and promote transparency around our work.
Also, NDC condemns description of Mahama running mate Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman as incapable of running a country.
The similarly disgraceful comment by the majority leader in Parliament that Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman is not capable of being described as President of the Republic of Ghana is one of the most backward and misogynistic statements.
We have details, and National Peace Council has urged the two major political parties to adhere to electoral rules and regulations for the registration exercise to proceed peacefully. I'm Arba Kumson. We are live on your DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. We're also live on your digital terrestrial television because we are free to air. Stay tuned in. Thanks for your company on here on your election headquarters. Now, the Electoral Commission has launched what it calls Let the Citizens Know. It's to inform the citizens about work being done by the Commission every step of the way before December 7. Chairperson of the Commission, Jean Mensah, explains this will hopefully demonstrate transparency and demystify the Commission's work and also remove the veil of secrecy which has characterized operations of the EC.
Is to outdoor the maiden edition of our initiative dubbed Let the Citizen Know, Transparency and Accountability in Motion. This initiative aims at providing the Commission the opportunity to engage with the citizen and inform them about our activities and processes from now until we close our doors to election 2020. It would also afford us the opportunity to receive feedback from the citizens, to answer their questions and address their concerns. The question that has been posed is, why are we doing this? As a commission, we believe that the citizen should be informed about our processes and activities and about the actions that we take. Indeed, since assuming office in 2018, we have endeavored to bring the Commission to the doorstep of key stakeholders by updating and informing them about our operations and activities. As you may recall, we engaged and interacted with a variety of stakeholders across the country, including religious bodies, traditional authority, the media, civil society, to name a few. It is in that same spirit, that is the spirit of transparency and accountability, that we are gathered here today. We believe that this platform would afford us an opportunity to provide timely information on a regular basis to the citizenry. We are confident that by doing so, we will demystify the operations of the Commission and remove the cloaks of secrecy that had hitherto shrouded our work. We are keen to ensure that citizens are provided with the truth and facts as they unfold. As a commission, we are determined to open up our processes and promote transparency around our work. It is our resolve to assure the citizen that there's nothing mysterious about our operations, and to let the citizens know that as sensitive as our mandate is, the operations leading to our elections are basic, mundane issues such as registering voters and so on and so forth. We are of the view that providing timely updates to the citizens will help build trust and confidence in the Electoral Commission. This, we hope, will help erase the tensions and suspicions that characterize our work and elections generally. Distinguished friends from the media, this initiative dubbed Let the People Know aims to help us to achieve the objectives I have outlined above. Through you, our dear friends in the media, we intend to engage with the citizens twice a week, that is on Wednesday and Friday, starting today. Using the Let the Citizen Know platform, we will provide citizens with regular updates, ranging from the number of persons who register nationwide, to details on male-female ratios, to the number of people who use the guarantor system, and to the number of people who use a form of identification, and so on and so forth. In short, we are keen to provide you with the facts as they unfold on the field and to let you know what the situation is regularly. We believe that by so doing, each and every one of us as citizens would be able to collate and have an idea, a fair idea of the number of people who have registered under the 2020 voter registration exercise. We believe this should not be secret, and each and every one of us as citizens is entitled to that information. And as we go along in all our various processes, we will bring you timely, relevant information and answer your concerns and questions. To you, our media personnel gathered here, we consider you as our bridge to the citizenry. You are a gateway to the public, and we hope and trust that you will be accountable to the citizen by presenting them with the facts and evidence as they are laid bare here. We trust that in carrying out your duties as seasoned journalists, you will put Ghana and no other entity first. We have no doubt that you understand the times in which we find ourselves. This is an election year, and already the tensions and suspicions are high. It is therefore important that you offer objective reportage on issues that transpire here. You have a responsibility not to use your platform and this platform for sensationalism. We, that is you and us, owe it to the citizens to present the facts and the truth as they unfold in this very room. We view you as our partners in the enterprise of informing the citizens on the plain facts and the truth. We believe that we are in this together, and the role we each play will have a bearing on the future and destiny of our dear country, Ghana. At the end of the day, when all is said and done, we should each find ourselves on the side of truth and justice.
Now, as you know, one of the concerns about the registration exercise that have come up is overcrowding, which has been experienced in Accra and Tama and elsewhere. Well, the Commission says it is taking steps to address that with the introduction of its queue management system. They add that the challenge of social distancing is not with the perimeter of the registration centers, but beyond the perimeter. Here is a Deputy Chairperson in charge of operations, Samuel Tete.
You will recall that the Electoral Commission started the nationwide registration exercise on the 30th of June. We have completed the first batch of the first phase, and we are now on the second batch of the first phase. And it is important for the Commission to brief the media on what has transpired so far, in essence, an overview of the registration exercise so far. Before we embarked upon the registration exercise, the Commission undertook publicity in various forms to drum the whole exercise to the citizenry when and where we are going to do the registration. Among others are TV promos, radio promos, docudrama, posting of educational posters, etc. And we also wish to say that for the first time, the Commission has translated its street announcement into so many Ghanaian languages, which includes Dagbani, Twi, Dagari, Sisala, Gan, Ewe, etc., etc. We also have to take stock by looking at the performance of our registration officials. They have been very efficient and effective, and this has actually translated into the number of applicants that are registered in a day. They are very fast, they are very skillful, and this has actually led to a smooth registration process. Again, we also have to look at the performance of the equipment that the Commission acquired. And we have also seen for ourselves the robust and then the fast nature of the BVRs that the Commission acquired. In this case, you find out that the speed of the BVR kits has translated into the number of applicants registered in a day. In some of the centers, we are registering as many as 280 plus, because they are robust, they are user-friendly, and they are also very fast. This is a deviation of the past equipment, which were characterized by faults and non-performing nature. So far, we have encountered some few challenges. However, let me highlight on some of the achievements with the first batch and the second batch that we are almost about to complete. The registration environment has been very peaceful. The equipment has also been functioning well. And we also have our officials almost always reporting at the registration centers on time. However, the few challenges that we have actually had so far or encountered is difficulty in observing the social distancing by applicants. And then we also initially had insufficient information on the movement plan put up by the Commission. And as usual, the overwhelming numbers of applicants at the centers.
So just gone by was the EC talking about the introduction of its new initiative, Let the Citizens Know, as well as an update on the registration process. Well, Director of Election for the NDC, Elvis Ifriankra, describes as a total chaos at various registration centers and complete disregard for COVID-19 protocols. He says it is mind-boggling how the EC chairperson and the president are exposing Ghanaians to danger. The president and the EC chairperson must take full responsibility if there's a spike in the coronavirus cases, he says.
From the beginning of the exercise, we have witnessed a complete disregard for COVID-19 safety protocols. While we observe that the wearing of face masks is being strictly enforced upon entry at the registration center, social distancing and washing of hands are not being observed. And indeed, the president himself went out to Abosokai, and you all saw the crowds of people that were following him. It remains mind-boggling how, in the face of a deadly pandemic, where Ghana's case count keeps skyrocketing by the day, President Akufo-Addo and the Jane Mensah-led Electoral Commission will recklessly expose Ghanaians to the risk of COVID-19 infections. It is sad that even some EC officials did not have adequate protective equipment. Unfortunately, the EC appears to be blaming the general public for non-adherence to the safety protocols
in its public statements on the ongoing registration process. After assuring the population that it is his responsibility to protect us, President Akufo-Addo is now saying that we must take personal responsibility for our safety.
Now, at the EC's press conference earlier today, officials there insisted that they have deployed new BVR machines and the system is working efficiently. But Mr. Efriankra says old machines have been deployed instead of the new machines. He hinted that the NDC is speaking to its lawyers on the arbitrary change of registration centers as well.
The EC has been inconsistent in following its own schedules for the voter registration. The schedules that were published to the general public have been changed on the ground, resulting in a lot of confusion, which is adversely affecting the registration exercise. And mind you, it is not for fun that the schedule is published in a gazette. The gazette is a legal document that states the specific areas where the registration is going to take place. So you publish your schedule in a gazette, then subsequently you start varying it. People plan. I know many people who move from Accra to various regions to go and register, only to get there, and on the ground the schedule has been changed. And there are legal issues, and we are speaking to our lawyers about that. But beyond that, it creates a lot of inconvenience and uncertainty, and people don't know what is going on. The arbitrary change in the schedule by the EC officials in the Upper East region, for instance, has resulted in a court order by the Bolgatanga High Court restraining the regional director of the EC from changing the earlier advertised date and schedule for registration in the region. And it's important that ordinary citizens who feel inconvenienced by this can proceed to the High Court. Again, the schedule so publicized by the EC is so complicated that many prospective registrants do not understand it. Public education on the schedules is non-existent. This has resulted in people massing up at various registration centers in other constituencies or polling stations instead of waiting for their turn.
Well, Mr. Efriankra also says the NDC has information that the EC wants to use its district offices as VIP registration centers for government appointees so they can be free from getting infected with the COVID-19.
The Electoral Commission is required by law to gazette all registration centers. We are therefore surprised about the announcement of the use of the district offices for registration for the aged and persons with disability. While we acknowledge the good intention of the Electoral Commission towards the aged and persons with disability, we think that the EC must operate within the remits of the law to avoid any suspicion. We are reliably informed that the EC's registration at their district offices could serve as VIP registration arrangement for government officials who, having exposed Ghanaians to COVID-19 infections through mass registrations, are looking for a safer way to register such that they will not mingle with the general population to increase their risk of contracting COVID-19. Political parties ought to be pre-informed about such arrangements to enable them plan and send agents to the district offices. We, however, see practical challenges with this arrangement. We wonder how the EC is going to place them in their respective polling stations in their communities. Because ordinarily, people do not really know the technical names of their polling stations. So he goes and, I am under the mango tree, I am in the middle school. That middle school may have 4 different polling stations. So if you register the people, then there will come the problem where if you have to transfer them onto the register, on election day, they may not find their various polling stations. And it's going to be a major issue on voting day.
Let's stay a while longer with the NDC because the party has been responding to some claims made by the New Patriotic Party after the announcement of Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman as running mate to John Mahama. Communications Director of the NDC, Sami James, says the claim that Professor Opoku-Agyeman cancelled teacher training allowances is false. He insists the decision was from cabinet and not a ministerial decision.
They claim that Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman cancelled teacher trainee allowance is false. The decision to replace the teacher trainee allowance with student loan was a cabinet decision and not a ministerial decision. As you may be aware, the actual Mahama government, to ensure equity and equality among tertiary students, converted allowances for teacher trainees into student loans in order to abolish the dreaded quota system of admissions into colleges of education and increase enrollment and teacher opportunities for the youth of this country. As such, students who did not receive allowances got their loans under this policy. This was a decision President Mahama himself took responsibility for. This policy, ladies and gentlemen, which was not properly understood by many, was exploited by then candidate Akufo-Addo and the MPP for cheap political capital and electoral gain, with a promise that they will restore the allowances if elected.
Now, he also says the claim that Professor Jane Opoku-Agyeman is not an economist is laughable. However, the vice president's position is about the ability to lead, he says. He says, we've had vice presidents in the past who were not economists but performed tremendously well. On her plea for clemency for the Muntie 3, Sami Jaimfi says the fact that she signed a petition to request a reduced prison term for the 3 doesn't mean she endorses the act. He says that she did not also cancel book and research allowances. He also described as sexist and misogynistic comments by the Director of Communications for the MPP, Yaw Asamoah, and the Majority Leader, Osei Mensah Bonsu. He says it is backward and their views are reflective of the President's thoughts about women.
Apart from the sexist and baseless comments of Yaw Asamoah, the similarly disgraceful comments by the Majority Leader in Parliament that Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman is not capable of being described as President of the Republic of Ghana is one of the most backward and misogynistic statements by a high personality who should know better. Comments such as these are reminiscent of other similarly shameful statements made by President Akufo-Addo when he suggested that Ghanaian women are not dynamic enough at a conference in Canada sometime last year. The worst part of this embarrassment was that he made the comments at an international women's event of all places, where he was scolded and schooled almost immediately by a fellow panelist on stage. Such sexist comments have unfortunately but predictably come to define President Akufo-Addo and his party, the New Patriotic Party.
You're still watching the election brief with me, Araba Kumsu. Now let's turn our attention on the National Peace Council, which is urging the 2 major political parties to adhere to electoral rules and regulations for the voter registration exercise to proceed peacefully. National Chairman Professor Emmanuel Asante has been speaking with leaders of the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress in the Asawase constituency on rising tension on the ongoing compilation of a new register. Nana Senso-Mensah has more.
The Peace Council chairman toured some registration centers in the Asawase constituency, during which he also raised concerns about social distancing breaches. He says a lot of education is needed to ensure registrants conform to social distancing protocols.
I'm sure that the EC should continue to educate people. The new queue management system is good, but whether the people have really understood it is another matter. I think the queue management system is something that will really ensure the social distancing that we are talking about. It's intended to do that. But if you look at the way people, they are maintaining some kind of social distance. You go to some places, you see some form of it. But I think we need to educate people the more to understand that COVID-19 is a reality, and that we should be very, 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 very careful about COVID-19,
Professor Asante later admonished the political leaders to exhaust the laid-down electoral rules if they have any concerns, rather than take the law into their own hands.
These things are to be expected. There is no way that you're going to meet political parties like NDC, NPP, and expect that they will all be in agreement. But getting from all of them, apart from the counter-accusations, we realize that all of them want the registration to go on. They want peace to prevail. We've spoken to them that they should try as much as possible to maintain peace, and that if they are not happy with it, they should go by the rules and make their complaints to the appropriate bodies. Once these have been done, we believe that we'll be able to move forward. Nobody should take the laws into their own hands, and there should be no bloodshed whatsoever because of registration and because of the election. After all, what is it that we are seeking to do? We're doing this to elect people who would represent us to ensure the development of our nation. This is not a matter for us to fight about.
Asawase has been flagged as a hot spot since the registration began last week. The council is, however, confident meeting with political parties will ensure peace prevails. Representatives of both parties responded to the council's admonition.
But I would advise them that once they have events, they should try and make sure that we follow the due process. Channels of grievances are there. Challenge forms are not there for nothing. They are not there for ornamental purposes. They are not there for any other thing but to challenge in due process. So we should follow those channels for peace to prevail. We want free, fair, and peaceful registration and election in 2020. And I hope, inshallah, we will get there. But the throwing of stones on the fence and trying to create the impression that Asawase is on fire, there is no peace.
And that's a wrap for Election Brief for today. I'm Mara Kumsin. Join us same time tomorrow.